Hey, thank you so much for doing this, by the way. For anybody that's watching this on YouTube, because I will post this on YouTube. This is Trish Spivey at 210 Home Warranty here in Northeast Florida. So, and I'm excited to have you because we're going to talk about home warranties and why they're so important.
Great. Thanks, Leslie. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to answering any questions you or your future customers will have.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things we were chit-chatting about a few minutes ago is I had another agent recently say, "Hey, is anybody doing home warranties with anything anymore?" And I thought, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You're not." Because it's so, as a seller, it's so important. When you close, that person is going to live in that house differently than you lived in that house. They are going to break something, and they there are always those people that are going to want to come after you. Providing them that home warranty is protection against somebody just anybody that's not happy. In the end, you've given them the method, you've given them a really good way to cover anything that might break in that home for the first year.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny when you talk about people saying, "Is anybody using home warranties?" As we were discussing, for a couple of years there with that seller's market, it was totally out of the transaction. And consequently, we ended up with the highest buyer's remorse that we've ever seen, 75% buyer's remorse. And the great majority of that had to do with the home systems and appliances. Because you're also very correct in saying that people use homes differently. There's about a 70% chance that the buyer is going to experience a major system or appliance failure within the first year. But I tell you what, as a warranty company, we see it within the first 3 months because of exactly that.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, if you're like, I'm now an empty nester. I live alone. I use that water heater differently than the next person that comes behind me that may have two or three kids and a husband,
Yep,
the water heater being a really good example of something that I know goes out fairly quick, can go out. You're
sure.
using it differently.
Sure, and that's exactly it. It's refrigerators being opened more. It's AC everything in the home when particularly when you said like, a single individual moves out or even a couple and now a family moves in, it completely wears on the systems differently. So again, it's that protection, that peace of mind for that buyer because it's not a matter of if, it really is a matter of when.
Absolutely. So let's talk about then just really quick what when you get a home warranty at closing, whether you've paid for it as the buyer or the seller has paid for it for you, what are we looking at that covering for them in a typical transaction?
Sure. Um, Really, there's a lot of different companies out there, a lot of different plans. For us and for your major warranty companies, it's going to be systems and appliances. So that means electrical, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and primary kitchen appliances.
Okay.
So basically anything that is, whether it's your stove, your microwave, your dishwasher, all of that in the kitchen, refrigerator. So that's really what it is. And it's mechanical failure. That's the biggest thing that people need to remember is that it fails through natural wear and tear, normal wear and tear. So in other words, you split your smooth top because you drop a pot on it. That's not normal wear and tear.
Okay.
So you turn it on, and I've had this happen where you've got like a 2 or 3 ring burner, one of the rings isn't working. You just turn it on. That's the same sort of thing. Your refrigerator's not cooling, ice maker's not working. Those are all mechanical failures, and that's what the warranty is there for.
Okay. So let's use, because we were talking about the water heater. Let's use that as an
Yeah.
example, by the way, because I actually I'm not really sure about this. They can leak. So what happens if you have a hot water heater that's inside that
Mhm.
that has leaked and has caused damage on top of obviously needing to be replaced?
Well, no warranty company is gonna cover resulting damage.
Okay.
So that ends up being homeowners insurance.
Okay.
Now, if it's a situation that by chance is caused by one of our contractors, then their insurance gets involved. So if I have an agent call me that says, your guy was out here, he did this, he damaged whatever it is. Then what I do is I go to contractor relations, we pull their insurance people in.
Okay. And that's awesome. That's good to know. So and because we brought it up, let's talk about what the difference between a home warranty company and a home insurance company is, because there's a massive difference.
Absolutely. And it's so funny. It's good you asked that because so many people, particularly buyers, they don't understand the difference. All they're thinking is, well, I've had a home inspection. I got to have homeowners insurance. Why do I need a warranty? Well, again, if your refrigerator quits working, you're not going to file a homeowner insurance claim on that.
Right.
That is really for your catastrophic, your damage, resulting damage, things like that, from leaks, from wind, storm damage, anything like that. The warranty again is there to offset the cost of those major repairs for your systems and appliances. So those things that break down and you wouldn't use your homeowner's insurance for.
Okay. So we're not, so it's not covering the roof?
Nope. Now you can, we do have a roof option. But I'm really upfront about options, and all warranty companies, but you'll see they have limits. So for instance, we have a roof option that can be added. It's $100, but the max payout is $1,000. It's really
Okay.
there to kind of cover those small things. And often it's used. A lot of the times what I do when I'm working with an agent is if they're making a decision between the supreme coverage or going maybe with the standard a little bit less expensive and adding something like that,
Hmm.
I make sure that they take a look at what's going to best suit their needs. And usually 99.9% of the time, the supreme coverage is more important than adding something like the roof that has a max payout.
And what is the difference between regular coverage and supreme coverage?
There's really about 40 additional things covered with supreme versus standard. Yeah. Starting with haul away and disposal. So your water heater dies, like and let's think about this, happens all the time, condo. Now you've got to get rid of that water heater and you're on a second floor or a stove or something like that. Supreme covers haul away and disposal.
Oh,
Um,
that's huge.
that's really big.
Yeah.
It also includes washer and dryer. Standard doesn't.
Okay.
It also has dollars that are allocated towards permitting or where they've got to make changes in the pipes and stuff. What's the word I'm looking for on that? Modifications. So
Hmm.
there's dollars allocated towards that standard doesn't have. Generally speaking, if I get a phone call that says, hey, you guys replaced my water heater, or the agent tells me that, but there was this much out of pocket, most of the time I know it's that they had standard, not supreme.
Okay.
Garage door hinges and springs. My garage collapsed. It was the hinges and springs. They were here the next day. I paid my service fee. Whole thing was fixed. Nothing out of pocket other than that.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
It's a big difference.
And what's the difference in cost?
$110. And the thing to remember too is that buyers always have 30 days from closing. So as long as they get, any sort of coverage, they can always upgrade to that Supreme within that 30 days.
Oh, well, that's really good to know. So
Yeah,
you do it, they realize that, hey, we're here, but the budget and budgets change, all that kind of stuff. Once you move into a house and really get settled in, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that $100 that extra $110 is really a
absolutely.
valuable. There's a lot of value in that $110 fee,
Yeah, I
short
mean,
or difference.
it really makes just for a better overall experience for the homeowner.
Okay.
I mean, there's no doubt, which is like I said, when it comes, I mean, I'm a great example. I have a saltwater pool. I
Mm-hmm.
don't cover my pool. It's a max payout of $1,000. I do supreme coverage on my home every year. So it's
Well, I do
choices.
know people that keep it every year, that keep it up every year, and
Oh yeah,
run it. I know people that'll let it expire at the end of the year, and then people that they're like, nope, because I know that air conditioner is not going to last forever.
oh yeah. I have people say that all the time. I've been paying for this warranty for 5 years. By God, I'm not gonna not renew it because that's when it's gonna go out.
I
And
mean,
it's
and everything's getting so much more expensive. Where you used to get a quote for $4,000 for a new HVAC, now you're at 10.
uh, and you're spot on. That is
Yeah.
exactly it. The
It,
cost of a replacement is about 10 grand. And most homeowners just don't have that in discretionary or extra income sitting around. So when they don't get it and that happens, I mean, it really can be a big wear on their finances for sure.
So and let's kind of step back a little bit too, because we still do have first time home buyers coming into this market. We have people that maybe haven't had a home warranty in a long time and they don't like, how does it work exactly for
Um,
a home buyer?
okay, perfect. So however they get it, whether it's provided by the seller, or they purchase it themselves, they basically set themselves up in a homeowner's portal. It's very easy. And they can do all of their claims through there. So let's say they get in, it's 3 weeks down the road, refrigerator's not cooling. They go in, they request service. Within usually a couple of hours, there's an email letting them know, or a phone call letting them know what contractor has been assigned to the claim. I always say contractors have up to 48 business hours to schedule their appointment. So I always tell everybody, once you get the information of who it is, go ahead and call them. And it's always worked for me to shave off time. So
Sure.
that's a good little tip. So once the contractor comes out, the homeowner pays the service fee, and then they do the diagnosis as to what needs to be repaired. Most of the time they can do the repair then. They might have to order a part and come back, not another service fee due. And here's the really great thing that really sets 210 apart is if for some reason it's something that isn't eligible, because not everything in the home is, we reimburse the service fee. Homeowner's not out of service fee.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
great to
that's a
know.
game changer.
Well, that is one of the things that I try and it is funny because when you buy a house, you're drinking from a fire hose, especially if it's your first one or two houses that you've ever bought that you're like, and that is one of the things that I try and reiterate to people, and they never seem to quite. I need to scream this from the hilltops: is don't call your own contractor, go through your home warranty company. They will assign a contractor to you. Because the time and time again, I get people that we did the home warranty, they've got the home warranty, they get it at closing. And I know everybody forget there's so much information. They
I
forget
know.
to use that home warranty and they'll call their own, they'll call their own people, and then it's too late. You're not going to get reimbursed for that.
No, and
You
I'll
have
be
to go to the
honest,
home warranty company first.
100%. Get the claim in the system is the first and most important thing. Because we have to have that claim. Then they can request even to use their own company if they want, and ask for reimbursement. The key to remember is that we do have negotiated rates. So usually it's not 100% reimbursement because they're paying retail. Our contractors aren't retail,
Sure,
but it is
sure.
an option. It does offer an option. But no doubt, if we do not have a claim, they've not requested service, my hands are completely tied.
Yeah.
So it's a good reminder for real estate agents in their touch points, reminding those homeowners. We've got that happy home lock and hardware that's 45 days that they have to change their locks
Mm-hmm.
and get $100 reimbursement, or rebate up to $100. That's a great tool to reach out and just say, hey, just checking if you changed your locks. And so you can touch point there. And again, remind them about the warranty, because
Yeah.
like you said, that fire hose that has hit them at closing.
Oh, I mean, there's just so much information. It's unreasonable to think that people would remember all of this. Okay, now, and we're talking about home buyers. So home buyer has gotten, and one of the questions that I do get is, what if I didn't have a home inspection? Which when someone asks me not that, when someone tells me they don't want to have a home inspection, my response is, then here's 47 pieces of paper saying you're going to agree that I told you to have one and you're still choosing not to. Like, we're not, yeah, like, you knew that you needed to do this and you said, no, I don't want this. I am not a home inspector. But let's say for some instance, do you have to have a home inspection?
You do not. Again, everything has to be in good working order at the effective date. We do not come out and check it either ourselves. There's no doubt that we cover things all the time that probably weren't in good working order. People wait a little while, then call it in. It happens. But there are a few things that we can tell. And one of the best examples, interesting, you brought up the water heater earlier. That's a great
Mhm.
example, because I've had this happen where the agent calls me, claim has been denied, the water heater's leaking. It's literally a week after closing. Now, rust is not an automatic denial, but if
Mhm.
it's leaking where it rusted and it's a week after closing, that wouldn't have rusted in a week.
Yeah.
We know that that was pre-existing. So that's where it comes back also, where it's really the home inspection. Because if you were to
Mhm.
call me, I would say, Lesley, how did it look on the home inspection?
Right.
Now, this one agent goes, eh. I'm like, you have any pictures? She's like, yeah, but I can't really share them. I'm like, well, there's not a whole lot I could
Then
do.
what are we talking about? Right.
Yeah, exactly. So really, they don't have to have it, but there are times where it can help me to have something overturned if they have that.
Fair enough. What about now? Do you require for HVAC to be covered? Do are y'all one of the companies that wants to have the HVAC inspected by an what are the words I'm looking for? I know there's a couple of companies out there that want to have an HVAC certified.
We do. Now,
Okay,
never required. Absolutely not required. Am I a
right.
big proponent of it? Yes, because
Because
a lot of your home inspectors don't open those systems up. They
right,
don't know if there's a leaking coil. They're sealed systems. If they don't open it up, if they do, they do pressure tests. A lot of times there's an oily substance. They can tell when it's
okay.
opened up. So I'm a big advocate of doing the certification. It is absolutely never required. But what that does is that removes any pre-existing clause, period. I don't care if it's 10 minutes after closing and that thing's 5 pounds low on Freon. That clause, it doesn't matter because the
It's been
pre-existing,
certified by an HVAC tech, so they're like, all
got
right,
it.
they said it was good, we're good. Okay,
You got it. And there are times where there can be a blowout and something like that would happen. For the most part, leaking coils take a while and things like that. But it's good insurance. And I also believe, honestly, Lesley, it's good for the buyers to know what they're getting into. It's like they want to know if there are problems. It's second to the roof. Again, we're back at $10,000.
yeah.
It's the most expensive failure a homeowner can have.
And that was going to be my next question is, so what are the most expensive things that you find y'all are covering?
Absolutely. It's, by far, it is the AC, first and foremost, the HVAC. Your refrigerator is a big one.
Sure.
And all of those things, the cost of all of these things, like you were saying earlier, the cost of everything's more expensive, but so is the cost of repairs on those things. So we've seen about a 25% increase in the cost of repairing ACs, water heaters, refrigerators. Those are our three big ticket items.
Okay. Yeah, no, and that makes sense. Especially here in Florida, and let's be very clear, it will be the 4th of July when your HVAC breaks. Like it will never happen at a non-critical time. So if you're, and to anybody who's watching this that's not living in Florida currently, you're talking about your furnace. We're talking about our HVAC. We don't care about our heater. I mean, yes, it's part
Exactly.
of that system, but nobody cares.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's that is definitely by far our most common and most expensive claim. In the summer, we could have 200 HVAC contractors in the summer, but what do we
Yeah,
do with them the rest of the year? Um,
absolutely.
but it is important, and this is always the thing I recommend to homeowners and to agents. A, home warranties are so important overall, period. But B, what is their HVAC coverage, especially here in Florida?
Huge, huge,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, because some companies put pretty low limits. There's some out that'll only pay $2,000-$3,000 max payout for an AC. There's some that only pay X amount per pound on refrigerant. That can get very expensive. A lot of R22 systems still out there.
Really?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Wow.
and that's about
Okay.
$200 a pound now.
Okay. Well, and that kind of leads into my next question, which is, what's the difference in home warranty companies? And I think you're not just leading into it. You're kind of stepping right over it. Is versus your coverage, you don't have limits on that,
We do not ever charge for replenishing refrigerant. There's no max payout on the HVAC.
which means
So
if it has to get replaced, you're paying to replace it.
we pay to replace it.
Yeah, we'll fix it until it cannot be fixed anymore.
You got it. We'll fix it till it can't be repaired. When it can't be repaired, we replace it. The other thing that we do is a lot of times homeowners want to upgrade. I know when mine goes out, I'm going to upgrade my system
Sure.
rather than what they would replace it with. We will offer cash in lieu. So we'll say, this is what we would replace it with, but they have the option to say, I'll take the cash of that. Now, again, we have purchasing power, so it's going to be a lower amount than, they would like to see because we don't pay retail, but it's still cash coming in that allows you to do what you want to do.
Fair enough.
I like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, that's huge. So, I
You-
mean,
Go ahead. I'm
are there
sorry.
any other major differences between like 210 and other companies? And I know that's a big one because I'm privy to these conversations, but I mean,
Yes.
anything
Yes.
else that's a big difference?
There is. And another thing I always tell people, ask, number one, do they cover their claims? Because a lot of warranty companies, there's a lot of less expensive companies out there. There are lots of horror stories about not covering claims. Gives us all a bad name because I hear that all the time. Oh, you guys, you're always looking for a reason not to cover a claim. Well, here's the deal. We're all about renewals. We don't even make money on the first time realtor product. We make nothing. It's not until about year 3. Our goal is renewals. If we're not covering those claims, we don't get renewals. So we have to cover our claims. And there's a direct relationship to homeowners that get a warranty as part of their closing. Don't use it and don't renew because they don't see the value.
Because they don't see the value. Well, and I will tell you, I literally 2 days ago was out taking a picture of a potential listing, like just taking a front picture really quick, and ran into a past customer in that I had the seller for this property, not the buyer. This was the buyer that is now living in the home. And she's miserable. And she's miserable because the home inspector didn't do a great job. And she got the home warranty, but she didn't use y'all. And the home warranty, something with the water heater. I'm trying to remember what all it was. I don't really remember. But yeah, she was, the refrigerator. They wouldn't replace her refrigerator. And she's like, well, it worked when I moved in. It's not working now. And they said, yeah, but we're not replacing that.
Yeah.
Just things like that. And she's miserable because, and we did not order that home warranty.
Yeah.
My people did not order that home warranty. Let's be very clear.
And no warranty company is perfect. I mean, I say it all the time, that if I get a phone call from an agent that says, I'm so done with such and such, I had this problem and they just didn't do I always say, what happened? Because I want to be able to say, you know what, we would have handled that the same way, so it's really just about developing the trust, knowing that we're going to cover within our terms and conditions. A claim we're 97.5% of our claims are covered.
Wow.
No other company puts that out there.
No,
So
that's amazing.
that's a game changer. We also, in other things that differentiate that, even if service guarantee, where I said we reimburse the service fee if it's not eligible. Again, the homeowner's not out a service fee for something that they're not getting covered by their warranty. And then we give buyers $100 rebate, up to $100 for rekeying or changing their locks.
Which is huge. It's not something that everybody should do when they move in. I mean, you just don't know whose uncle had a key that they forgot about. It's nothing. None of this is anything nefarious. This is just how people live and they forget.
Sure.
We lived there for 15 years. I don't remember every key that I gave out. There's no way.
No doubt. I have pets. I've got keys all over the place.
Right? Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you, because we don't have much time before this cuts off.
Sure.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wish you had a chance to talk about? Because I really appreciate you doing this. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that